Well, Jumbo trainers, and special welcome to our brand new trainers who just trained with us in Santa Fe. It is awesome to be with you and reconnect in this format. So today we are continuing our IP demo classes. And our IP demo classes, we're skipping ahead to we're skipping all the way to the end because today we have Rebecca who is going to be with us. And Rebecca Psigoda is going to be doing Chapter 7, The Meaning of Life. Rebecca has successfully taken the Infinite Possibilities program and reworked it into a youth empowerment program, which is called Infinite Possibilities, I Believe in Me. Rebecca continues to work with young people year-round through the Homeless Families Foundation in Columbus, Ohio, while also sharing the Turnkey program materials and video trainings with others interested in working with youth ages 7 to 18. This year, Rebecca's focus is on sharing the program with nonprofit youth organizations. Rebecca is one of our trailblazers, and really one of our trailblazers from the beginning in Santa Fe. She will be celebrated and honored that it was her 10th Train the Trainer. And also some special guests, the Ippy Kids made their debut and rap song debut. So if you haven't seen the video on Facebook, you have to go check that out. Rebecca, I'm thrilled to have you with us. So I'm going to turn it over to you so you get the most time to take us through this class, The Meaning of Life.
Thank you, Regina. I appreciate it. So I've got the PowerPoint up and ready to go, and here we go. So welcome back, everyone. It's so good to see you. And would anyone like to share any celebrations, anything that they gained from any of the classes? It could be anything from thoughts become things to faith to action steps that you have taken that have shown up. So I always like to start this way, as you know, because it gives you an opportunity to process everything you've gotten so far. And then how's that working out for you? Does anybody have anything they'd like to share? You could raise your hand and then Regina would unmute you. Any stories? Okay, not yet. Nobody's quite ready to talk yet. It looks like, okay, well, let's go back.
Can I share?
Sure.
I just want to share that on this process, and especially being around everybody just recently, what I continue to be astonished by is how I can catch my thoughts. And like, even though I think I've been living this and doing this for a while now, just being around everyone else, I realized how quickly I can recognize when I'm going into a negative thought and now how much I can switch it. So I'm really grateful for this work because it works.
It works. TSW. This stuff works. Outstanding. Thank you, Regina. Okay. So that's one of the things we're always encouraging is once you have actually gone through this, whatever session that you're doing, we encourage you to go home and as you're processing it, just see what comes up and see if you notice it. See if you notice you're choosing your thoughts better. See if you're noticing that you're having a limiting belief and you're moving into an empowering belief. See if you recognize the fact that you took that super ninja action step that Miriam showed at the training and that it opened up a whole new world of possibilities for you. So again, just be more aware of what's happening based on this because it is about living more consciously and deliberately. Okay, so we're going to review faith very quickly. Faith in the magical universe. While there is much to God in the universe that we can't figure out, it's still easy to know at least enough to have confidence and live deliberately. God, the universe, is alive inside each and every one of us. We are all connected by this higher power. We are all one. We are loved. And we are inclined to succeed. So the 3 key points that we went through in faith are, faith means having confidence in something that you cannot see. Even among uncertainties, we can still live deliberately. And God, the universe, is alive inside each and every one of us. So let's talk about that for just a minute. Faith means having confidence in something that you cannot see. You know, in session 1, we learn that thoughts become things. Then we move on to beliefs, and we understand that it's our beliefs that are actually behind our thoughts and our emotions. Then we take action once we've understood how to manage our emotions. But when it comes to faith, I set a goal or several goals in session 1. I visualize them every day. But what happens if I lose faith? What happens if I lose faith is I now have a new thought that's about to become a thing. So we shared this in the last session. Faith means believing that your goal is actually on its way. Your dream is being delivered. And in order for your thought to become a thing, you want to maintain that thought. So have faith, even if you can't see it yet. Mike talks about how when you've set your GPS, you might be a minute away from your destination. But if you lose faith and change your thought about what's about to happen, it will happen. You will not reach the goal. So maintain faith. Even among uncertainties, we can still live deliberately. You know, in the times that are happening in the world right now, there are a lot of people who are filled with fear. We all know this. We see it on Facebook, social media every day. We see it in the news. But you still can be very deliberate about who you are, what you think, what you believe, how you act. So even among the world's uncertainties, you still can do what you need to do to be conscious and deliberate about the way you move in the world. And then God, the universe, is alive inside each and every one of us. We talked about that last session as well. You know, God lives the physical life, the human life through us. So we, as the best expression of ourselves, are offering the best experience for Source, the universe, God, whichever one of those you would like to choose. So any questions about faith? Hands up if you do. If not, we will continue. Okay. So what's the point? As you know, I ask this in every session. Why do you think we're here on Earth? And for this, we're going to turn to page 73 in our workbooks. Let's talk about that. So on page 73 of the workbook, we're talking about our purpose. Why do you think we're here on Earth in time and space? Would anyone like to jump in on that? Why do you think we're here on Earth in time and space?
You want a whole philosophy?
Well, Greg, what would you like to share in a couple of minutes?
In one word, entertainment.
Entertainment. I love that answer.
The power expresses through us, and it's the only way it has of entertaining itself. If it weren't for us, it would just be sitting there, a blob of love and power with nothing to do. Probably bored out of its great big infinite mind.
With no real human experience.
Right.
No emotions, no five senses, etc.
Well, emotion, because love is one of its dimensions.
Right.
That expresses as emotion, but that's the only emotion it needs. It has to. Yeah. It needs us for the rest of them.
The contrast. All of those other emotions. Yeah. So for entertainment, I like that answer, Greg. Anyone else? Why we are here on Earth in time and space.
To enjoy the human experience, which essentially is exactly what Greg said.
Yes, yes, to enjoy the human experience. Good, Pat. I love that answer. I know most of us enjoy it a whole lot since we learned this program, right?
To experience the contrast.
To experience the contrast, absolutely. Is that Debbie? I thought that was your voice.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yes, to experience the contrast. Very good.
To enjoy everything there is in this, on this planet and this earth. It's just amazing, the whole thing.
Enjoy everything on this earth and planet. It's amazing. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm looking in my ravine right now, and this morning we had duck visitors in the stream. We've had deer, fox, ducks this week. I drop everything and just allow myself to be entertained by the wildlife. I know you do too, Dawn. Okay, so
I think we're here to be creative and explore all our creative tendencies.
Is that Double D?
It is.
Hi, I can't see you, but I recognize your voice.
Thank you.
Could you say that again, Double D?
Yeah, I think that we're here to explore our own creative passions and to share those with others to see how that can add value to other people's lives, as well as to be here to serve others.
I agree. Good stuff. Absolutely. And as Ippies, I think we're more aware of that than many, but all of that is so true. To experience it, to share it. Good stuff. Okay, thank you, everybody. We're going to keep moving on. We've got a couple more things that we're going to be discussing. So let's see what the workbook has to say. So today we're going to begin to discuss the last session in the program, the meaning of life. So what's the point? There are 3 key points to the session, the meaning of life. Number 1, life is an adventure into learning and happiness. So I think that's some of what we just talked about. It's an adventure, it's entertaining, it's fun, but also we get to learn, we get to experience happiness. So number 2, the meaning of or purpose of life is simply to live it. You know, I'm not sure I understood this the first time I read it. And then when I thought about it, it's sort of like being in that present moment. When we look back, when we look forward, oftentimes that's where anxiety comes from, our concerns, our fears, our disappointments. But when we're just living it, when we're just present every day, when we're just really looking around, having gratitude for what is, appreciating what's around us, experiencing what we can do right now, here, today, we let go a lot of that anxiety, we let go of a lot of that fear, and we just live today. And it has made a big difference in the way that I do things since I kind of absorbed that thought. And success boils down to vision, belief, and actions. We've already talked again about thoughts becoming things. We've started visualizing every day, so we understand that part. We know that it's important to believe it will come true, that we can do it, and that we deserve it, so belief. And then actions. We also know that you can't just sit on the couch and do all that stuff. You have to get up and move. So all of our lives follow a pattern. Desire, we have a desire. We go on a journey. We run across challenges, which I always think of as opportunities for learning and growth. We learn, we experience happiness, and then we repeat. You know, how many of you would pick up a book and everything would be great from the middle to the end, and you go, wow, that was so awesome. Or you go to a movie, and it would start off with everybody's happy and in love, and there are no challenges. Without the challenges, it's just not very interesting. I know we think that's what we want, but really what we want is we want to have them, and then we want to figure out what to do with them. We want to succeed. We want more learning and wisdom. Because that's what makes us feel happy, is the creativity that had to take place for us to look at those challenges, turn them into opportunities, and then move on. So our entire life is a series of exactly this. Once you have your desire, go on your journey, get through your challenges, do the learning, be happy, you'll repeat it because you'll have a new desire. So it's the desire for something we don't presently have. The journey begins to pursue what we want. Unforeseen challenges arise, which create our learning and wisdom. We find success, peace, and happiness. And then a new desire emerges to replace the old one, and we repeat the pattern again. If you think back, you will see that this is what your life has looked like. So why does this matter? Life lessons are endless, and our challenges are our gifts. The meaning and purpose of life is simply to live it so that we can learn, grow, and be happy. So what seem to be the main lessons of your life right now, and what are you ready to learn at this stage in your life? Let's turn to page 75 in the workbook and take a look. Okay, once again, who would like to share? What do you think you're positioned to learn right now in your life? What feels like it's right here and it keeps showing up, and it's hoping you're going to get it because you've asked for it, and it keeps showing you that this is your opportunity? What do you think? Anybody have a share? I can start with one of mine. Balance. Balance has been a big one for me. I get very, very, very focused. I forget what time it is, what day it is, if I've eaten. And the next thing you know, I'm scarfing a bag of chips. So that's not good. And so balance is a really, really important thing for me. And Regina, I see you laughing. So maybe I'm not alone on this one. So who would like to share? Dawn.
For me, it's just the opposite. For me, it's finding focus. Right now. I'm scattered. I have so many things that I want to focus on that I don't seem to be spending enough time or having enough focus on any of them. So that's what I've been dealing with.
Okay, so you're looking for focus.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good. Good share. I have a few friends that would say the same thing. We seem to be one or the other. Who else? Who else would like to share?
I unmuted.
Carol.
Oh,
I see
yeah.
Carol.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm actually seconding both of those. My life is going so fast right now that I have to remember to breathe sometime, which I find very helpful. But trying to find a balance between, I find I'm doing a lot, but I have so many things that I'm trying to get done in a given day that it's really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I tend to act on inspiration, and sometimes it's not a good thing because I get inspired to interrupt what I'm trying to get done.
Mm-hmm.
So balance between the spiritual world and my to-do list.
Mm-hmm. I can relate to that. Very good. Thank you, Carol. Anyone else? I heard someone talk before, and I'm sorry, I don't know who it was. No? Okay. Well, let's continue then. Okay. So this is going to be just a short story about, for me, the process and how the challenges led to learning and became my greatest gift. As some of you have heard the story, those of you who were in Santa Fe or who know me personally, when I went through the Infinite Possibilities training, my why I did it in the first place was in large part so that someday I could work with the younger version of myself. I feel in life like all of these things that we go through, these challenges, if at some point we can look back and see how we grew from that and then share that with someone who is going through it, that's kind of part of the purpose in life. And yes, I know it's just to live it, but this is, at least for me, something that I knew I wanted to do. So I spent a couple of years working with adults, and then in 2015, I reached out and wanted to contact several nonprofits who represented the younger me that I could perhaps work with. And I heard a no, and I heard a no, and I heard a no. And I remember looking up and going, what? I don't get it. Like, this is what I wanted to do. I'm trying to serve this population. I don't need them to give me space. I'm not asking them to pay me, because these are the objections that they always had. And they still said, well, no, thank you. And then one day I got a call from a friend of mine who worked for the Homeless Families Foundation. And she said, hey, Rebecca, could you work with kids? I said, well, this is not a kids program. And she said, I know, but could you do it? Well, talk about a challenge. So she invited me to come down and take a look at the place, and I did. And as many of you know, I walked into the library, and there up on the shelf in the prominent position in the library was Mike Dooley's children's book, Dreams Come True. And I got goosebumps and thought, wow, I think this means something. This is rather synchronistic. And then she took me upstairs to the cafeteria, and we walked around a corner, and I saw 80 children sitting there. And they were eating and smiling and laughing like kids would be anywhere. And I was incredibly moved. And she walked me to the far side of the cafeteria, and I met a few kids along the way. And then I turned around, and there was a giant mural on the wall. And it was the cover of Mike's book, Dreams Do Come True. And of course, the tagline to that is, all they need is you. I started to cry, and I looked up and I said, okay, I get it. And then I got home and I started to prepare the program for kids. And only when I was a few days into getting started did it dawn on me, because I had forgotten. But when I was 19, I was homeless. So I was getting what was in my deepest heart as to my why and why I came in the first place. I was going to be working with the younger me, lots of younger me's. So that's kind of where I had a desire to work with the younger me. I went on a journey. The challenges were I got a lot of no's, and then I got the yes that turned into be extreme happiness on my part. And now I'm on a journey again to make sure that we get this message out to as many adults and children as possible. So how can this help you move forward towards your goals and dreams? Success comes from vision, belief, and action. The reason some people are very successful always boils down to vision, belief, and action. Or to put it simply, thoughts become things, since vision, belief, and action are all derived from your thoughts. So what would you like to be successful at in the days, weeks, and years that lie ahead? Let's turn to page 78 in our workbook and see. Okay, who has something in mind for a short-term goal or a long-term goal, or something that they would actually like to be successful at in the near future, a year from now, 5 years from now? I'm just going to share one thing very quickly. Back after the Seattle training, Tracy Farquhar and I were sitting having a Guinness, and I will never forget as long as I live her saying, I want to be a world famous psychic medium. And here she is today, and I'm pretty sure that number 50 on the Amazon bestseller list of all books qualifies her for being a world famous psychic medium. So it's important to have those thoughts, as we know. It's important to have those goals. It's important to have those dreams. It's important to write them down. It's important to speak them into reality. So who would like to share? What's something you'd really like to have? And it could be tonight, 6 months from now, or a few years from now, whatever. Who would like to share? Okay, once again, I'll share. My birthday is in November, and I have a goal of putting the Infinite Possibilities I Believe in Me program in the hands of 10,000 children by late November. And so that's one of my goals and dreams. And I guarantee you I'm taking steps every day. And I've had a lot of help, thank goodness. So it's not all up to me. It's all the people who know that that's my goal and dream and are going, how can I help? So it's going to happen. It's happening. It's happened. Regina?
Well, I wanted to tell people who are on the phone, just in case they want to participate, star 6. Unmute.
Thank you, Regina.
I'll share.
Thanks,
Yeah, we're having a little bit of audio shows. Maybe somebody needs their. But it was a year ago that I took the training in January, and I came back this time, and I'm motivated to have a seminar at the house the weekend of the 27th, 28th of May. So I'm excited about that. And another goal is to do a lot more in the artwork world for Infinite Possibilities, I Believe in Me, and however that spills over into Infinite Possibilities, and to work, of course, with the youth program and you and the dolls and everything that it encompasses. Because can y'all see my shirt? I love it. Can you see it? I can't tell because I can't see me on there. So I believe in me, and I believe in you guys too. So it's going to happen. It is absolutely.
Thank you, Debbie. For those of you who don't know, Debbie illustrated the coloring book, the Infinite Possibilities, I Believe in Me coloring book. And she also did all the illustrations that are in the Infinite Possibilities, I Believe in Me manuals, including the cover. So she's an IP, I Believe in Me trainer. Thank you, Debbie. Who else? Who else has something that they would like to say? I want this. I'm going to have this. Anybody? Carol. You'll have to unmute your mic, Carol. There you go. Okay. Oh.
Hang on. I have fumble fingers. Come here.
While she's doing that, I have a quick technical note. There's a little echo coming through. And I'd like to suggest if you're not speaking, be sure that your mic is muted. I see it because it'll come through your speakers and then sort of echoes the speaker.
Thank you, Greg. Carol?
Okay, my husband and I are creating a wellness retreat at our farm in Middle Tennessee. And so we're going to have Airbnb rooms and a wellness retreat. And it was Mike's book that inspired us to this. And we used these techniques to find the farm. And we're in the middle of renovating it right now. So this is what I'm going to have in the future. And I'm making big plans and making steps every single day toward it, including this conference right now.
Yay.
And now I'm an IP trainer.
That's awesome. And it's driving distance for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo-hoo. Thank you, Carol. Anybody else? We'll take one more.
I'm going to have a retreat at Carol's place someday.
What was that?
You
Regina?
will.
I said I'm going to have a retreat at Carol's Wellness Center.
Oh, yay.
Yes, there's going to be many, so y'all can come.
Very cool. Thank you, Carol. That was awesome. Okay, let's go back. So know that if you have the vision and belief and are willing to take action every day toward your dream or goal, you're destined for success. And now a little message from Napoleon Hill.
My search led me to the study of the spiritual forces with which all of us are blessed. And it was in this field that I came upon a clue which has enabled me to help millions of people to find their earthly destinies. I want to describe my discovery in the simplest terms possible, because it will reveal to you why it is true that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, regardless of how many times you may have failed in the past or how lofty your aims and hopes may be. I caught my first fleeting glimpse of the profound law which provides the means by which we may choose our own purpose in life and attain it, while I was being coached by Andrew Carnegie during the organization of the Science of Success philosophy. I had just finished telling Mr. Carnegie that I feared he had chosen the wrong person to give the world the first practical philosophy of personal success because of my youth, my lack of education, and my lack of finances. Well, at this point, Mr. Carnegie delivered a lecture that I shall never forget, because it changed my entire life and paved the way for my helping to change the lives of millions of people, some of them not yet born. let me call your attention to a great power which is under your control, said Mr. Carnegie. A power which is greater than poverty, greater than the lack of education, greater than all of your fears and superstitions combined. It is the power to take possession of your own mind and direct it to whatever ends you may desire. This profound power, Mr. Carnegie continued, is the gift of the Creator, and it must have been considered the greatest of all of his gifts to man, because it is the only thing over which man has the complete and unchallengeable right of control and direction. When you speak of your poverty and lack of education, Mr. Carnegie explained, you are simply directing your mind power to attract these undesirable circumstances, because it is true that whatever your mind feeds upon, your mind attracts to you. Now you see why it is important that you recognize that all success begins with definiteness of purpose, with a clear picture in your mind of precisely what you want from life. Then Mr. Carnegie continued his speech with a description of a great universal truth which made such an impact upon my mind that I began then and there to give myself a new outlook on life and set up for myself a goal so far above my previous achievements that it shocked my friends and relatives when they heard about it. Everyone, said Mr. Carnegie, comes to the earth plane blessed with the privilege of controlling his mind power and directing it to whatever ends he may choose. But, he continued, everyone brings over with him at birth the equivalent of 2 sealed envelopes, one of which is clearly labeled, the riches you may enjoy if you take possession of your own mind and direct it to ends of your own choice. And the other is labeled, the penalties you must pay if you neglect to take possession of your mind and direct it. And now let me reveal to you, said Mr. Carnegie, the contents of those 2 sealed envelopes. In the one labeled riches is this list of blessings. 1, sound health. 2, peace of mind. 3, a labor of love of your own choice. 4, freedom from fear and worry. 5, a positive mental attitude. 6, material riches of your own choice and quantity. In the sealed envelope labeled penalties, Mr. Carnegie continued, is this list of the prices one must pay for neglecting to take possession of his own mind. 1, ill health. 2, fear and worry. 3, indecision and doubt. 4, frustration and discouragement throughout life. 5, poverty and want. 6, and a whole flock of evils consisting of envy, greed, jealousy, anger, hatred, and superstition. Now, my mission in life is to help you and everyone who needs my help to open up and use the contents of the sealed envelope labeled riches. And the starting point from which you must take off if you wish to write your own ticket from here on out for the remainder of your life, I will describe for you in these simple instructions. 1, procure a neat pocket-sized notebook, or something on the order of this one here, loose leaf affair. And on page 1, write down a clear description of your major desire in life, the one circumstance or position or thing which you will be willing to accept as your idea of success. And remember before you begin writing that your only limitations are those which you set up in your own mind or permit others to set up for you. And 2, on page 2 of your notebook, write down a clear statement of precisely what you intend to give in return for that which you desire from life. And then start in right where you stand now to begin giving. And 3, memorize both of your statements, what you desire and what you intend to give in return for it, and repeat them at least a dozen times daily. And always end your statements with this expression of gratitude for the blessings with which you were gifted at birth. I ask not, O divine providence, for more riches, but more wisdom with which to accept and use wisely the riches I received at birth in the form of the power to control and direct my mind to whatever ends I desire. If you are not too successful or self-satisfied to accept and express this profound prayer, if you accept it and express it in the same spirit of humble sincerity in which I pass it on to you, a new and a better world will reveal itself to you. A world in which you will see reflected the circumstances and the things which you yourself have created. And now let me close this, our first visit, with my favorite expression of gratitude. O divine providence, I ask not for more riches, but more wisdom with which to make wiser use of the riches you gave me at birth, consisting in the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever ends I desire.
Okay, so what's the point? Why did I share that video? Who has something they'd like to share about what that, did that kind of wrap up IP in a way? I remember the first time I saw it, I went, wow, this is like the 1940s version of IP. But I think it's extraordinary. So basically it's focus on those thoughts, have those beliefs. Pat.
Say yes, it really does wrap it up, because that is the meaning of life, to have your desires and go through your challenges and make your desires come to you. So by controlling your mind.
Yes, exactly. So I love him. Anybody else like to share? Rosemary? Hi, Rosemary.
Hi. You know what comes to mind is, how many times do we have to be told?
Apparently since prior to 1940. Yeah, but you know, I think that there are a lot of things that are like that. You know, I often say church or synagogue or any kind of scenario like that, you don't go once.
Right.
You know, you have to keep going back, because we are human. And so.
And I've seen that video before.
Is reminding each other of these things. Yes, Rosemary?
Now, I've seen that video before, but after the IP class, it makes better sense. It's very clear now.
Yes.
And that's why it made me laugh to think, how many times do we have to be told?
Regularly.
Daily, like a vitamin.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Greg.
One of my favorite expressions that explains a lot is one that came to me at one time in meditation. The truth doesn't care how it's packaged. And the truth has been around for a long time, just appearing in different packages that appeal to different people at different stages of their receptivity.
Oh, most definitely. I'm not sure I would have understood much of that even in my 40s.
I was brought up in it and I didn't understand it.
So it's good to be here now. Anybody else? Take one more if one more person wants to make a comment before we move on and wrap it up. No? Okay, here we go. So because the meaning of life is our last session, we're going to actually wrap it up with a very, very quick program review. So we learned in the introduction that life is magical, we are powerful, and everyone can succeed no matter whom, no matter what. And I hope everyone is seeing that now. I hope that through moving through this process, you do see the magic of life and how powerful we all are. And that you've gone about some things differently and seen how easy success really is for anyone and everyone. Thoughts become things. We learned that our thoughts become things is the starting point for creating any kind of change. We can't actually begin to create a shift until we're aware of what kinds of things we're thinking about, and we learn to make sure that we shift them if we are aware that they do not align with our goals and dreams. You don't have to be positive 24/7 to have a happy, successful life. We weren't given a variety of emotions so that we could just sit with one all of the time. They're all rich. They're all colorful. They all make us better. Practice a creative visualization exercise once a day. I can't imagine getting up and moving about my day anymore without first visualizing that it's going to be a day of ease and peace, and I will complete what I need to. Beliefs. Your beliefs hide behind your opinions about life, people, happiness. Your beliefs shape your thoughts, therefore your life. And you can change your beliefs by changing your thoughts, words, and actions. We've all seen now the limiting beliefs that we've been carrying around with us. We've learned how to change them into empowering beliefs so that we can actually achieve our dreams. If we say to ourselves over and over again, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, I don't have enough time, energy, money, we need to make sure that we align our beliefs with our goals. And we can change those beliefs by changing our thoughts, words, and actions. Emotions. Our emotions are the product of our beliefs and perceptions. We've learned that if someone is zipping down the street past us and almost blows us off the road, that instead of thinking bad words or that the guy is not a nice person, we've learned to consider a different perception, a different perspective. Maybe he's on the way to the hospital because someone he cares for is there. Maybe he just has to be somewhere and it's an emergency. So instead of just assuming the worst, we assume the best. Our emotions are life's feedback system. They're there for a reason. But we can control them, we can hang on to them, or we can move through them. Unpleasant emotions can point to limiting beliefs about certain situations. Well, oftentimes, it's nothing unpleasant at all, with the exception of the fact that we're having a limiting belief about the situation. Taking action. For creating major life changes, taking action is mandatory. You don't have to know how your dreams will come true. Set that GPS and go. And by taking action, you're creating possibilities, infinite possibilities. Each time you take a step, there's a whole new world available to you of things that you can do, of options that you have that you didn't know until you took that step. Instincts and hunches, dreams and desires. Instincts and hunches come from our higher spiritual selves. That small, quiet voice, as Tracy Farquhar would put it, the one that talks to you and tells you what might be the best move next. When I gave up on trying to do everything logically and listened to the voice and trusted my instincts and hunches, everything changed for me. Our dreams and desires are windows into the future. Once again, this is the divine wanting to experience through us what we most want so that it can experience our joy when we get it. We all have inner senses that guide us. Faith in the magical universe. As we talked about, faith means having confidence in something that you cannot see. And even amidst uncertainty, we can still live deliberately. God, the universe, is alive inside each and every one of us. The meaning of life. Life is an adventure into learning and happiness. The meaning of life is simply to live it, and success boils down to vision, belief, and actions. And now we're going to wrap it up with a quote from Notes from the Universe. For every fork in the road, there are two paths from which to choose. The one you should take and the one that you want to take. Take the second. Always take the second. I did. Man, could life rock any more than it does? The universe. And now we're going to wrap it up with, well, I'll just show you.
Thoughts become things, that's what they say. No matter who you are, each night and every day. So think about what you think about, what you think, say, and you do. Because thoughts become things from your mind into the world, and then they come back to you. Beliefs are the key behind the thoughts of what you feel. You can choose what you believe. You decide what's real. When you choose to believe what's the best to do. Say, I believe in me and I believe in you. Ready? We all have emotions like happy and sad. They tell us how we feel, both good and bad. Like thoughts and beliefs, you get to choose. Choose to feel good when you have to
I thought I'd let the kids wrap it up. They just do a better job than me. I don't know if you could hear the drill upstairs going, but.
Did you say wrap it up?
I did. WRAP with an RAP. So the meaning of life. There you go.
Thank you, Rebecca. That was awesome. And I was so glad to see the rap again, this time without tears running down my face. Could enjoy it a little more. I didn't have to go on stage after.
I know.
Oh, it was awesome.
Thank
so
you.
I wanna open it up to everyone for questions for Rebecca about the meaning of life, or about how and why she chose to teach certain things and in a certain way, and also what you noticed about what Rebecca taught, and what helped you, any takeaways, anything that opened up for you, or anything you see that you want to incorporate in your own teaching. We're just opening it up for discussion and feedback around what you learned today, or questions for Rebecca.
And now I am wearing my headphones because the drill is really loud on my end.
Yeah, it's not loud for us, so that's good.
Okay, good.
Yeah. All right, if you would like, go ahead and just unmute yourself, so you can just hit down at the bottom, or if you're on the phone, *6.
Rebecca?
Yes?
Hello. I just wondered where you got the Napoleon Hill video, because I think that's really cool. That would be a fun video to use.
Hi, is this Julie?
Yes.
Hi, Julie. I got it on YouTube. Hi. In fact, all of the videos, other than the Ippy Kids, came from YouTube.
YouTube? Okay, so it's easy to find?
Yes, and you just look up Napoleon Hill, and it is what the mind can conceive, etc.
Okay, great. Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
I don't really have a question, but I wanted to say thank you very much for this. It was very powerful, and I really enjoyed the way that it was presented.
Thank you, Debbie. You know, some people know this, some people don't. But so let me just share something really quick, because I think this might help. When I'm putting the sessions together, and I talked about some of this in Santa Fe, I try to do only 1/3 of it myself actually talking, which is kind of difficult in this situation. 1/3 of it, I like to prompt discussion, and I use the exercises in the workbook to prompt discussion. So instead of having them sit and fill things out, we talk about it. We just talk about it. We get the discussion going. And then as part of their homework and challenges, they would actually fill that out in writing. And 1/3 of the time, I like to do either stories, videos, or some kind of activity to break it up. And in the process of everything I just shared, then you also address all learning styles. You know, the audio listener, or the audio learner, the visual learner, and the kinesthetic learner. So just I call it the 1/3 rule. 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. If that helps.
I love that. And you do such a beautiful job of synthesizing the information, keeping it really clean and really simple, including discussion, including personal stories, and then, you know, having some visuals and some activities. I have a question. Since this is the last chapter, do you or have you done any kind of graduation type thing?
Yes. So you cover the last chapter, you do a quick review of everything, and then there's usually food, beverages, a little party, sometimes gifts, depending on your situation, and a graduation certificate. So although I didn't really know how to kind of do that here in this environment, yes. And the certificate is available on the TUT resources page, so you don't even have to recreate the wheel. It's right there. You can just go on and download it and use it to hand out to your students. So yes, I'm definitely big into celebrations. So it's always a party day. Yes, Pat.
I just want to say that Mike has a graduation video on the TUT resources,
yes, he does.
I believe. And that's really good too, you know, kind of wrap everything up and let the students relate to who actually authored the program.
Yes. Yes, thank you. I definitely agree. He created an intro video and a graduation video. So another really great one to use. Absolutely. Thank you, Pat.
Any other questions for Rebecca, or also just some takeaways, like some takeaways from the session, or any takeaways of what you saw Rebecca do that you want to remember for yourself?
Hi, it's Patrice.
Hi, Patrice. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I really liked the fact that you did a wrap-up, a synopsis of the whole training, because I've never done that when I've taught it. So I think I'm probably going to add that into my last session. I thought that was a great idea.
Thank you. And actually, typically, you know, if there's more time, I would do that more in a question kind of way. So I would try to lead them into giving those answers. But again, with the time constraints that we had, I sort of just shared. But I prefer, like even with my kids, I ask them at the end, so what did you get from Thoughts Become Things? What's the most important thing you learned about that? And I try to get them to tell me so that I know that they actually understood the information and that they can now apply it in their life. So a wrap-up is great. And if you have the time, I would just try to make that more of an interactive opportunity to see that they're getting it.
I've got a question, Rebecca.
Thank you, Patrice. Yes, Greg.
Do you use that particular PowerPoint with the kids?
No, I do not. I have a completely different program for the kids. And in fact, I don't teach the last 3 chapters, but I do teach 10 chapters, and I incorporate those things into other pieces. So for example, I don't talk about faith. I have beliefs broken into 2 sections, a general beliefs and then an empowering beliefs. And empowering beliefs is more about self and having faith in self. And part of that is because they are kids, and I have to be very careful in that area with kids. You know, my personal thought is that most of that is a home decision. And so I don't want to infringe on anyone's particular religious beliefs or faith. So I make it more about empowering yourself and having faith in yourself. I've added in meditation and visualization, made it a whole session because they're getting introduced to it. So the meaning of life, it's a tough one when you're 7. But, you know, those same ideas are incorporated in the rest of the program. It's about being happy. You know, it's about having fun. It's about, you know, having dreams and desires and going after them. And it's, you know, kind of about living it. Just, I express it a little differently. So I have not even taught this session for over 2 years because I've only worked with kids. So it was fun to put it together.
Well, when I was in children's theater, one of the things that I noticed was a lot of adults kind of talk down to the kids. And I get the feeling that you don't.
No.
I don't know. Is that correct? I mean, that's something to mention for working with kids.
Yeah, no, because I want them to feel empowered. So, so no, talking down to them wouldn't be a good idea. You know, for the 9 to 16-year-olds, I still use the 3 key points. I only dropped it down to what the IPPY kids say for the 7 and 8-year-olds. Like, actually, it's a 5 to 8-year-old program. So for them, Thoughts Become Things becomes what you think about, you bring about from the Hero of Happiness. And for Bella Believes, it's I believe in you and I believe in me. So it's really that simple. I tried to take it to something that was, you know, like if there's one thing you remember about this, what would it be? And it's what the dolls say. And then, of course, the rap song verse that goes with it. Thank you, Greg.
Anyone else? All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming live today. I think this is the biggest group we've had. And just a reminder that this recording This video will be posted on the trainer resources page. And we also have thoughts become things, beliefs, emotions, and instincts, hunches, dreams, and desires. And now we'll have meaning of life. And that the next 2 are coming up. So in 2 weeks, we have taking action. And then we have chapter 6 coming up as well with Jen. So I look forward to seeing you all in the future. Rebecca, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
With us and wrapping up the entire series. And to all of you, I hope to see you in the Facebook group. I hope to see you at future community calls and IP demo classes. And for some of you who just returned and are new trainer, we do have the Trailblazer Mastermind course that's starting at the end of the month that you can still sign up for. And you can do that on the TUT resources page as well. And that's it. Happy Friday, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we'll see you around and online. Thanks.
Thank you. It's so good to see everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.